Before we even get into the trailer itself, let's talk about what this movie actually is, because Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is shaping up to be one of the biggest cinematic events of the decade. This is not an original sci-fi concept, not a loose reimagining, and not a modernized spin. Nolan is adapting Homer's Odyssey directly, the legendary epic that takes place after the Trojan War and follows Odysseus during his cursed 10-year journey home. It's one of the oldest stories ever written, and Nolan is treating it with the same seriousness he brought to Oppenheimer and Dunkirk, grounded, psychological, and massive in scale. The film stars Matt Damon as Odysseus, the clever Greek king who won the Trojan War through deception rather than brute force. Alongside him is an absolutely stocked cast. Anne Hathaway plays Penelope, Odysseus' wife, who has been waiting for him for decades. Tom Holland plays their son, Telemachus, who has grown up believing his father is dead. Zendaya is confirmed to appear as Athena, Odysseus' divine protector. Robert Pattinson plays one of Penelope's suitors. John Bernthal appears as Menelaus, king of Sparta, and Lupita Nyong'o is also featured in a currently undisclosed role. This is easily one of the largest ensemble casts Nolan has ever assembled, and every actor appears to have narrative importance rather than being a throwaway cameo. Industry reports estimate the budget to be somewhere between $200 and $250 million, placing The Odyssey among Nolan's most expensive films ever, alongside The Dark Knight Rises and Tenet. As expected, the movie is being designed as a theatrical-first experience, with a massive emphasis on IMAX and practical filmmaking. The current projected release window is summer 2026, and if Nolan's past releases are any indication, this will be positioned as a global cinematic event rather than a streaming title. No shortcuts, no compromises. Now, when the trailer begins, Nolan makes something very clear immediately. This is not a story about victory. The first images we see are the aftermath of war, dead soldiers, scattered armor, and a beach soaked in silence. Troy is already fallen, the war is over, and instead of triumph, the mood is heavy, almost mournful. Matt Damon's voiceover speaks of an unwinnable war that was somehow won, and that line is crucial because Odysseus didn't win through strength, he won through deception. The Trojan horse, shown later in the trailer, was his idea. The Trojans pretending to retreat, stripping off their armor, dismantling their ships, it was all a lie. And in Greek mythology, cleverness often comes with a cost. When the trailer shifts to Ithaca, the emotional temperature drops even further. This is Odysseus' home, but it doesn't feel welcoming. It feels frozen in time. Penelope has been waiting for years, surrounded by suitors who have overrun the palace, abusing Zeus's sacred law of hospitality. Robert Pattinson's haunting voiceover describes a kingdom without a king, and that line carries both political and spiritual weight. Odysseus isn't just missing as a ruler, his absence has thrown the entire moral order out of balance. A major thread running through the trailer is Telemachus' search for his father. Tom Holland's character is constantly asking questions. Is Odysseus alive? Is he rich, poor, imprisoned, dead? This strongly suggests that Nolan may be structuring parts of the film through Telemachus' perspective, with Odysseus' journey unfolding through stories, rumors, memories, and fragmented timelines. It's a very Nolan approach to a very ancient story, and it allows the myth to feel both personal and mysterious. As the trailer moves into the journey itself, we see Odysseus and his men at sea. Early on, there are 3 ships. Later, there are fewer men. Eventually, there is only 1 ship left. This visual progression is not accidental. It quietly maps how the journey destroys Odysseus' crew piece by piece. Storms rip through the ocean, men are thrown overboard, and the sea becomes an active enemy. This is where Poseidon enters the story, not as a character we hear from, but as a force that refuses to let Odysseus return home easily. One of the most important moments in the trailer is the brief, almost hidden glimpse of the Cyclops. This confirms that Nolan is fully embracing the mythological elements of the story.
The Cyclops is Polyphemus, son of Poseidon, and when Odysseus blinds him, he triggers the god's wrath. Poseidon doesn't kill Odysseus, instead he curses him to wander. Survival becomes the punishment. Every step toward home is undone by another storm, another delay, another loss. The trailer then gives us one of its most haunting images: dead soldiers rising from black ashen ground. This is the underworld. Odysseus travels here seeking prophecy and guidance, but what he finds instead is confrontation with the dead, with his past, and with the cost of staying alive when others didn't. Nolan frames this moment like psychological horror rather than fantasy. There's no spectacle, just silence, ash, and shadow. It's about guilt as much as destiny. The final moments of the trailer are quiet, intimate, and devastating. Penelope holds Odysseus and makes him promise to return, and instead of reassuring her, he asks a question that defines the entire film. What if I can't? The screen cuts to black. The title appears, and suddenly it's clear that this story isn't about whether Odysseus survives, it's about whether after war, gods, monsters, and time itself, he can still belong anywhere at all. Christopher Nolan isn't just adapting the Odyssey, he's turning it into a story about trauma, identity, and the cost of survival. And if this trailer is any indication, this may be his darkest epic yet. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives, trailer analysis, and mythological storytelling, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because this journey has only just begun.